Hi, this video is about the situation in Haiti, and I asked Gemini, I said, why don't we just send all our American homeless people to Haiti, because they we give them $10,000, $20,000, they go to Haiti and they can start a new life there because the exchange rate is so good. Gemini then told me that living in Haiti today is in a security crisis. Armed gangs control much of the territory. So later on, I'll ask him, what's the difference between a gang and a rebel or a freedom fighter? We can call them gangs, or, did King George call the Sons of Liberty a gang? Or did he call them rebels? So just using the word gang in an American context makes American people think Haiti is more dangerous than it probably actually is. Zero emergency services there, ongoing instability. So I want to go on to this now. I say, is Haiti really in an emergency? I could see foreign governments announcing an emergency, specifically so that its immigrants would be accepted into the United States, because supposedly in America we have to accept people that are from war zones in their country, because they're coming here will benefit us. So obviously, Haitians send remittances back to Haiti. Haiti also loses excess population by sending people here. So obviously a lot of these countries like Mexico, Haiti, Guatemala, what they can do is they could announce a state of emergency in their country. They could throw up some news stories on the TV, like, oh, look how dangerous it is here. They can get 10 casting members, give them AR-45s and camo, and have them run around the streets. But everybody would be in on it. The Mexican people would say, yeah, this is just a way to fool the Yankee, to pull one over on the gringo, because they're so gullible there. So I wonder, is there really anything actually going on in Haiti, or is it just all a fabrication so that the Haitians could come here and claim protected status or whatever? So Gemini says, the emergency in Haiti is widely verified by independent and international observers. All right, so what's that going to be? Some Europeans who make money by, acting as a global watchdog. So you have these organizations, let's just say the World Health Organization, and they're sitting in Brussels or whatever, and they say, yeah, Haiti's really dangerous, so the people have to go to America, because maybe the people in the WHO don't like America. And they say, well, the Haitians aren't going to come here, they're going to go over to the Yanks, so let's just say that Haiti's in a bad situation, and all the Haitians can go to America. That's good for us. Who cares about if it's good for America? And that's the problem with the post-World War II world. We have all these international organizations that don't like America. Say the WHO has a Chinese chairman or something. He's going to want to give America a black eye whenever he can. So he's going to say, yes, Haiti is so dangerous. They cannot stay there. They must go to America. So, the United Nations and the Human Rights Watch. So those people, they don't care about America. They'll say any place is in a state of chronic civil war, as long as the people don't have to go to their countries. They'll go to America. Gang dominance, Gemini said. Armed gangs control approximately 90% of the capital. So if they control 90% of the capital, are they still gangs? Isn't that a new government? They've taken over the country. We think of gangs, we think of Biggie and Tupac and the Crips and the Bloods, and that's what Americans will read when they see this. Oh, gangs in Haiti, it must be so dangerous. But in fact, they're the patriots, the rebels, the freedom fighters. They're forming a new government in Haiti. It says between January 2025 and March 2026, over 5,519 people were killed. So that's a 15-month period, and there were 5,000 people killed. All right, what about with Israel? And they're going into Lebanon, killing all the people there. We don't say that the Israelis are, gangs or doing anything bad. America just killed, 2,000, 3,000 people in Iran in a matter of weeks, or a month and a half. So that number of people killed, maybe that was the people, the freedom fighters, or the rebels, or the gangs, whatever you want to call them, were fighting in Haiti. Mass displacement, over 1.5 million Haitians are internally displaced. That's another thing that you can fabricate. There's no way to know if these Haitians are really internally displaced. They could say that they are, but the problem is that Kristi Noem has not, when she was Homeland Secretary, she did not make a trip to Haiti to see how things were going on the front line because she was a coward. Marco Rubio, he won't make a trip to Haiti to verify this or not because he's acting like a coward too. We have to have the American government go there on the ground and see if Haiti is really as dangerous as it seems. And until they can do that, they're not going to win their court cases. Trump's not going to be able to send the Haitians back. And maybe Trump doesn't even care. Maybe he doesn't want to send the Haitians back. Maybe the whole, deport everyone. Maybe that was just some red meat for his MAGA base. And he really doesn't care about deporting people as long as he can build more golf clubs and build more hotel casinos and have the G20 go to his place in Miami and have the Doral golf or whatever. So, Supreme Court, as of May 2026, the U.S. Supreme Court is currently hearing arguments. And this is the thing. All these arguments are going to take so long. I say, and Gemini says, could a government fake an emergency? And there is much prosperity if they were to fake the emergency. There is much profit, and we live in a capitalistic, profit-mad world where people only care about money. So I said the government, if Mexico fakes an emergency, you get 3 million Mexicans here on top of the 7 million that are already here, just from Mexico. They send home remittances, which are very profitable. They take away the excess burden of population in Mexico itself. It's a win-win situation for Mexico, so why wouldn't they fake an emergency? Independent verification. The U.S. TPS law, Temporary Protective Status, law requires the Secretary of Homeland Security to conduct a thorough independent review of country conditions. And Kristi Noem never did that because she was too busy playing dress up in America. And Marco Rubio doesn't do that either because he's too busy going around talking to countries about Haiti instead of just manning up and going into Haiti and seeing if it's bad. So I said, has anyone in the Trump organization tried to investigate Haiti, like Kristi Noem, to see if it's still dangerous? It sounds dangerous, but really, how do gangs differ from rebels? How do rebels differ from patriots? It's also nuanced, especially when the gangs, in quotes, take over the entire country, basically. Then Gemini told me that the Trump administration has formally assessed Haiti as safe enough for the return of its nationals. Kristi Noem said that there are no longer extraordinary conditions preventing safe return. However, this finding is currently subject to intense legal battle in the U.S. Supreme Court. And then I want to go here, judicial blocking. Federal judges have repeatedly blocked Noem's findings, calling them null and void because they allegedly ignore thousands of pages of evidence showing the country is in its worst state in history. First of all, it's not its worst state in history. The country was in its worst state in history in 1802 and 1803 when the French were still there and there was like racial wars going on. But this is the problem with democracy. Everybody can be bought. Everybody can be paid for. You can buy congressmen, you can buy senators, you can buy a president, you can buy judges, you can buy legislators, local, federal, state. Everybody has a price tag on them. That's why democracy is weak on immigration, it's weak on border enforcement, and that's why democracy is failing in America. So, you have local federal judges that can say, yeah, there's thousands of pages of evidence. Yeah, there's like 50,000 pages in the yearly spending bills that Washington comes out with. There's thousands of pages everywhere. If you want to sign up for internet, you got like 500 pages that you could read if you want. There's always thousands of pages everywhere. It means nothing. Gangs, rebels, and patriots, the nuance. In a country like Haiti, and this isn't a knock on Gemini. Gemini says a lot of, decent stuff sometimes. So, gangs, he says their goal is territorial and financial control. Isn't that just like, becoming the new government? So, do we call Mao Zedong a gang member because he wanted to control China? Do we call Toussaint Louverture from Haiti's history a gang member? Do we call Thomas Jefferson a gang lord? It's ridiculous. So that's my story about Haiti. And I wanted to touch on a few points. One, that a country could fake an emergency so that it floods the United States with, immigrants, migrants. And that's the most important thing. Two, the Trump administration, Kristi Noem or Marco Rubio have not actually gone to Haiti and investigated what's going on there. Three, that the WHO and the UN, they will always want to give America a black eye, so they're going to support any findings that have more immigrants come to America. And four, that, we hear about gangs, but gangs, rebels, freedom fighters, patriots, it's also nuanced.